What if the first sentence of the Bible is not just telling you how the world began, but warning you how the world unravels when it forgets why it was made? What if Genesis is not ancient poetry, not a children's story, not a scientific argument, but a blueprint for order, for meaning, for authority, for identity? And what if the instability we feel today, the confusion, the anxiety, the collapse of truth, the breakdown of family, the acceleration of technology beyond wisdom, is not random? What if it is the result of stepping outside that blueprint? The Bible does not begin with chaos. It begins with intention. I am Pastor Najam, and welcome to Simple Verse Deep Truth. In the beginning, not once upon a time, not myth, not speculation. In the beginning, before nations, before borders, before race, language, or power. And Scripture tells us something radical. In the beginning, God did not create a mess and then fix it later. He created order from the very first breath of existence. And the tool he used was not force. It was the Word. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. 7 words in Hebrew. 28 letters. Perfect structure. Intentional design. Creation is not accidental. It is mathematical, architectural, purposeful. And then Scripture says something even more revealing. The earth was formless and empty. Tohu vavohu. Not evil, not sinful, unformed, unordered. And God does not destroy the darkness. He separates light from darkness, waters above from waters below, land from sea, time from time, function from chaos. Because in the biblical worldview, separation is not rejection. Separation is preparation. God separates in order to assign purpose, to give identity, to establish authority. Light is separated so it can rule the day. Darkness is separated so it can rule the night. This is not division. This is design. And this pattern matters. Because when humanity rejects God's design, the Bible does not say things merely break. They reverse. This is what theologians call decreation. When humanity steps outside God's order, creation does not progress forward. It begins drifting backward, toward emptiness, toward meaninglessness, toward tohu vavohu again. Not because God abandons the world, but because the world cannot sustain meaning without him. This is why chaos feels familiar today. We are not witnessing evolution. We are witnessing reversal. And then in the center of this ordered world, God creates something shocking. He creates humanity, not as an afterthought, not as an experiment, but as his image. Let us make man in our image after our likeness. In the ancient world, an image was not decoration. It was representation. Kings placed images, statues, in territories they ruled to declare authority. But God does something no ancient God ever did. He places living images. Humans are not statues. They are living representatives. The image of God is not about appearance. It is about function. Humanity is designed to reflect God's character, God's rule, God's order into creation. And this is why the creation story reads like the building of a temple. 6 days of forming and filling, 7 days of completion. In ancient Hebrew thought, a temple was not a place where God lived because he needed shelter. It was the place where heaven and earth overlapped. Creation itself was the first sanctuary. And on the 7th day, God rests, not because he is tired, but because the work is complete. He takes a seat. Creation is his temple. Humanity is his priesthood. And then comes the first human relationship. It is not good for man to be alone. This is the first time God says something is not good. And the solution is not duplication. It is complementarity. God creates an ezer kenegdo. Ezer does not mean assistant in a weak sense. It is most often used of God himself, as saving help, sustaining strength. Kenegdo does not mean identical. It means corresponding opposite, facing one another, completing one another. Biblical equality is not sameness. It is design-driven complementarity. 2 distinct lives, standing face to face, together bearing the full image of God. This is the theological answer to modern gender conflict. Not domination, not erasure, but harmony within difference. And then comes the fracture. Humanity listens to a different word, a counterfeit wisdom, a promise of autonomy. You will be like God, not under God, not reflecting God, replacing him. And when that happens, creation does not merely fall. It begins to unravel. Shame enters, fear enters, blame enters. And God does something astonishing. He covers them. Scripture says God made garments of skin. The text does not explicitly describe a sacrifice, but the implication is unavoidable. Life was given to cover shame. This is not the full gospel yet, but it is the shadow of it. The first hint that restoration will require blood. The pattern is set. and then humanity spreads. Cities rise, technology advances, culture forms, and eventually humanity reaches Babel. Let us make a name for ourselves. This is the essence of rebellion. Autonomy, self-definition, immortality without God. Babel is not about bricks. It is about control. And God intervenes not by destroying humanity, but by confusing language. Why? Because unity without truth becomes tyranny. But Babel is not the end of the story, because Scripture always answers rebellion with redemption. In Acts chapter 2, something extraordinary happens. Pentecost, different languages, one message. The Spirit does not erase diversity. He transcends it. Babel is reversed not by linguistic sameness, but by unity around the word. Different tongues, one name. And that name brings us back to the beginning. Because John opens his gospel with a deliberate echo. In the beginning was the Word. This is not poetry. This is theology. John is declaring that the same logos that structured creation has now entered creation. The word that said, "Let there be light," now walks among us. Creation was spoken. Redemption is embodied. And Jewish scholars noticed something long before modern readers did. Genesis 1:1 is mathematically ordered, balanced, intentional, structured. John is not inventing a new idea. He is revealing the continuity. The Word did not appear suddenly in Bethlehem. He was present at creation. This is why Paul says, all things were created through him and for him. Christ is not plan B. He is the point. This brings us to our moment in history, because we are building a new Babel. Not with bricks, but with algorithms. Artificial intelligence promises knowledge without wisdom, connection without communion, immortality without God. Digital Babel connects devices, while fragmenting souls. It promises control, efficiency, transcendence, but it cannot offer rest, because rest was never found in progress. Rest was found in God. The Sabbath was not a rule. It was a gift. And Hebrews tells us something radical. There remains a Sabbath rest for the people of God. Not a day, a person. Christ is our rest, not just our sacrifice, not just our teacher. Our rest. The world does not heal when we work harder. It heals when we stop trying to save ourselves. And this brings us full circle, back to Bereshit. The first letter of the Bible is Bet, the letter of a house. Creation was designed to be God's dwelling place. Sin turned sons into strangers. Redemption brings us home. Christ is the final Adam. He does not patch the design. He restores it. From dust to glory. From chaos to order. From decreation to new creation. This is not just theology. It is invitation. To step back into the design. To live as image bearers again. To rest in the Word who holds all things together. Because Genesis is not just about how the world began. It is about who sustains it, and who redeems it.